2 Olympic gold medals, both stripped, 8 years apart. One man won gold at the 2008 Beijing Olympics and again at the 2012 London Olympics, back to back, in the same weight class.
Ilya, when he's 15 years old, power snatching 140. If you watched that interview with him on Hook Grip a couple of years ago, talked about clean and jerking, I think it was 227 kilos as an overweight 85 when he was 16.
182 to 222. 222, like 92 kilos, 93.
He was considered one of the greatest weightlifters who ever lived. He was a national hero in his country. He had over 400,000 followers on Instagram. His face was on billboards. And then in November 2016, the International Olympic Committee announced that both of his gold medals were being taken away. Not because of anything that happened in 2016, because of what was in his system in 2008, and again in 2012. Banned steroids, found in samples that had been stored and retested with technology that did not exist when he originally competed. 8 years after Beijing. 4 years after London. Gone. And here's the part of this story that nobody is talking about. The men who finished behind him, the men who had already retired, moved on, built new lives, got phone calls telling them they were actually Olympic champions. Years later, no ceremony, no crowd, no podium, no anthem, just a phone call and a medal in the post. The internet found out, and the internet had a lot to say. We will get to exactly what people said. But first, you need to understand who Ilya Ilyin was and exactly how deep this scandal goes. Quick ask before we dive in, subscribe and drop a comment, because I read every single one, and it genuinely helps this channel keep growing.
Ilya won several world championships, 2 Olympic championships, which he was then later stripped of. And the performance that you will be remembered for was in Grozny. 191, 246 in 2015 in Russia. And you told me that that was your favorite performance.
Ilya Ilyin was born on May 24th, 1988 in Kazakhstan. He grew up in a country where weightlifting was not just a sport, it was national identity. Kazakhstan had been producing elite weightlifters since the Soviet era, and the pressure on young athletes to carry that tradition was enormous. He started early. By 2005, he was already a junior world champion. By 2006, he was a senior world champion. He was 18 years old. Think about that. 18 years old. Senior world champion. The best weightlifter in the world in his weight class before he was old enough to drink in most countries. He was not just good. He was electric. The kind of athlete who made crowds stop and stare. The kind of competitor who made other elite athletes nervous just by walking into the warm-up room. He set world records the way other athletes set personal bests. Routinely, almost casually, like the bar was always going to go where he told it to go. And he was named IWF World Weightlifter of the Year 4 times, 2005, 2006, 2014, 2015. The governing body of his entire sport, 4 times, said he was the best weightlifter on the planet that year. Nobody doubted Ilya Ilyin. That was the problem. Beijing 2008, the Olympic Games. Ilya Ilyin steps onto the platform in the 94-kilogram class. He snatches 180 kilograms. He clean and jerks 226 kilograms. Total, 406 kilograms. Gold medal. Olympic champion at 20 years old. The crowd goes wild. Kazakhstan goes wild. His name is everywhere. The greatest young weightlifter in the world just won Olympic gold on the biggest stage in the sport. 4 years pass. The world moves on. More competitions, more records, more world titles for Ilyin. He is now not just a rising star. He is the established king of his weight class. London 2012, the Olympic Games. Ilya Ilyin steps onto the platform again. This time he lifts 418 kilograms total. A world record. An Olympic record. His clean and jerk of 233 kilograms is recognized as the world and Olympic record. 2nd consecutive Olympic gold medal. Back-to-back, in the same weight class, against a completely different generation of competition. Kazakhstan erupts. He is the only Kazakhstani athlete to win 2 Olympic gold medals. He is a hero, a legend, a man who will have his name in the history books forever. That is what everyone believes in 2012. 2016, the International Olympic Committee launches a retesting program. Technology has advanced. Substances that were undetectable in 2008 and 2012 can now be found in stored samples using new methods. The IOC retests more than 1,000 stored samples from the Beijing and London Games, June 2016. The IWF announces that retests of samples from the 2008 Beijing Olympics indicate that Ilya Ilyin tested positive for Stanozolol, a banned anabolic steroid, September 2016. Ilyin is stripped of his 2012 London gold medal. The tests from London found dihydrochloromethyltestosterone and Stanozolol in his samples, November 25, 2016. the IOC confirms, both gold medals stripped. Ilya Ilyin, the man with the billboards and the 400,000 Instagram followers and the 4 World Weightlifter of the Year awards, is no longer an Olympic champion. He is ordered to hand back both medals. His response when the news broke? "I'm shaken today, obviously in shock. I'm thinking about an appeal. The appeal went nowhere. Let that land." 2 Olympic gold medals. The only 2 Olympic gold medals Kazakhstan had ever won in weightlifting, gone, in a single announcement, 8 years after the first one was lifted. And here is what the IOC's retesting program found when they dug deeper. It was not just Ilyin. Kazakhstan's weightlifting program had been almost completely wiped out by the retesting. All 5 gold medals won by Kazakhstani weightlifters in 2008 and 2012 were stripped. Every single one. 5 gold medals. Gone. Think about what that actually means for a country. Kazakhstan had built its international sporting identity in part on those results. World records, Olympic champions, national heroes. And the retesting program revealed that the foundation of all of it was rotten. Drop it in the comments right now. Before you found out about this story, did you know that Kazakhstan had all 5 of its 2008 and 2012 weightlifting gold medals stripped? Because most people had no idea. I want to know. Because here is the part of the story that should make every person watching this genuinely furious. The men who finished behind Ilyin in Beijing and London were not cheating. They trained clean. They competed clean. They lost to a man who had Stanozolol and Turinabol in his system. And they moved on with their lives believing they had finished second. In Beijing 2008, in the 94 kilogram class, the silver medal position went to Arsen Kasabiev of Georgia. He finished behind Ilyin, competed clean, got silver. When Ilyin was stripped, the results were reallocated. But here is the cruel twist that makes this story different from every other doping scandal. The bronze medalist at Beijing 2008 in the 94 kilograms class was Kazimirat Akayev of Russia. He was also stripped for doping in the same retesting program. So when the medals were reallocated after both the gold and bronze were stripped, the silver medalist moved to gold. And the 4th place finisher, a man who had never stood on an Olympic podium in his life, suddenly learned that he was an Olympic bronze medalist, 8 years later, with no ceremony, no crowd, no anthem. Think about what that phone call feels like. You are going about your normal life. Maybe you retired years ago. Maybe you have a job and a family, and you have made peace with the fact that the closest you ever got to an Olympic medal was 4th place in Beijing. And then someone calls to tell you that actually you are an Olympic bronze medalist, that the man who beat you was cheating, that you deserve to be on that podium in 2008 and you never got to stand there. A medal in the post is not the same thing as a medal ceremony. It is not the same thing as hearing your country's anthem. It is not the same thing as the moment that defines an athlete's entire career. The men who were robbed by Ilyin got the paperwork. They did not get the moment. They never will. And at the 2012 London Olympics, the situation was even more complex. Ilyin's gold was stripped. But the reallocations caused a cascade of changes across multiple positions because other athletes in that competition also failed retests. The medals kept shifting. The official results kept being updated, years after the competition had ended and the athletes had moved on. The internet found all of this, and the internet was not calm about it. The comments on the original announcement were brutal. Fans who had watched Ilyin compete for years, athletes who had lost to him, countries whose lifters had finished behind Kazakhstan's team and never stood on a podium. Everyone had something to say about 8 years of stolen history. Ilya Ilyin tried to come back. After his 2-year suspension ended, he spoke publicly about wanting to return to competition and target the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. He said, "I'm still young. I'm 29 years old, at the height of my sporting career. I really want to return to the sport. This is my priority." He did not make it to Tokyo 2020. Kazakhstan's weightlifting federation was suspended. The Kazakhstani ban on Ilyin extended past his IWF ban. He never competed at another Olympics. The man who won 2 Olympic gold medals in 2008 and 2012 ended his career with 0 Olympic gold medals. Named IWF World Weightlifter of the Year 4 times. Named a cheat by the IOC twice. And the story does not end with Ilyin. The IOC retesting program from Beijing 2008 and London 2012 found 98 positive tests across multiple sports. Weightlifting was the most affected sport. 52 weightlifting medals were stripped in total, including 15 gold medals, more than any other sport in Olympic history. 52 medals, 15 golds, all gone. All reallocated years after the fact to athletes who deserved them and never got the moment that should have come with them. Here is what this story actually tells you about the sport you are watching right now. Every clean athlete who competed against doped athletes in Beijing and London spent years believing a false result. Years thinking they were not good enough. Years accepting a silver or bronze or 4th place that was not the real result. And some of them retired carrying that. The retesting technology changed everything, but it changed it too late for the moments to be given back. You can reallocate a medal. You cannot reallocate the podium. You cannot give someone back the moment their anthem would have played. You cannot hand someone the feeling of having their hand raised in front of an Olympic crowd. Those moments happened. They just happened for the wrong people. And the question that weightlifting has never fully answered is this: how many results that we accept as true right now will look different in 8 years when the next generation of testing technology arrives? Do the math. So here's what I want you to tell me in the comments. If you finished second to a doped athlete at the Olympics and found out 8 years later, would you want the medal? Or would the moment being gone make the medal feel meaningless? Drop it below. Every single comment gets read. And if you want the full breakdown of every weightlifting gold medal that has been stripped in Olympic history and which countries were most involved, subscribe to Lift Icon right now. That video is coming very soon, and it is going to make this one look like the introduction.